After 60, many people wake up and feel like their body is running on a slower setting. The coffee is the same, the cup is the same, but the morning does not hit the way it used to. You feel heavy before breakfast, your digestion feels sleepy, and the first craving can appear before the day even starts. Most people call that metabolism getting old, but that explanation is too lazy. Your metabolism does change with age, especially when muscle mass drops and daily movement quietly shrinks. Resting metabolic rate is linked strongly to muscle mass, and research on aging shows that lower muscle mass is a key reason energy expenditure declines over time. But here is the part almost nobody explains clearly. A slower metabolism after 60 is not only about age, it is also about the signals you send your body every morning. Coffee with sugar sends one signal. Coffee with a biscuit sends another signal. Coffee followed by sitting for 4 hours sends another signal. And a simple black coffee turned into a bitter aromatic morning ritual sends a very different one. That is where clove enters the cup. Not as a fat-burning miracle, not as a spice that melts belly fat while you sleep, as a small change that can make coffee more functional, more satisfying, and more useful inside a smarter morning routine. Clove contains eugenol and other compounds studied for antioxidant and anti-inflammatory activity. But one clove in coffee is still food, not medicine. That distinction matters because the industry loves two extremes. They either sell you a miracle or make you believe nothing simple can matter. The truth is usually in the middle. A tiny ritual will not replace protein, walking, sleep, or strength training. But the right ritual can make those habits easier to start. And the first 15 minutes after your morning coffee can decide whether the day begins with control or with cravings. Because the real trick is not the clove alone. The real trick is what the clove helps you stop doing. In a moment, I will show you the exact way to prepare it. But first, you need to understand the mistake most seniors make before the first sip. And pay close attention to this message because you've been asking me for this for a long time, and I decided to finally deliver it. I realized that most people don't struggle because they lack information. They struggle because they lack a method. They try everything, mix products, irritate their skin, give up halfway, and then get frustrated because they don't have a clear step-by-step plan. That's why I created the Secret Aesthetics Protocol. In it, I show you the pillars of a complete health and aesthetics method and reveal the secret techniques the industry doesn't teach you to identify the invisible signs that are aging you. Choose the right and cheap ingredients with the correct order and safe combinations, and build real results from the inside out with Japanese principles as your big map. And for everyone who follows the channel, I left 3 exclusive bonuses as a gift. It's in the first link in the description or in the pinned comment. Click the link and become part of our community, because this opportunity can go offline at any time. Now back to the video. The mistake is turning coffee into dessert and then expecting it to behave like a metabolic tool. A spoon of sugar, a sweet creamer, and a piece of white bread can turn the whole morning into a glucose roller coaster. You feel awake for a few minutes, then hunger comes back faster, the belly feels heavier, and the craving cycle starts early. This is why the clove coffee trick is not really about adding something exotic. It is about removing the need for sweetness by making the cup more aromatic and more satisfying. Clove brings warmth, bitterness, and a strong spice note that makes plain coffee feel less empty. That matters because many people do not sweeten coffee only for taste. They sweeten it because plain coffee feels harsh, flat, or boring. One whole clove changes that. The smell becomes warmer before the flavor even reaches your tongue. The cup feels more intentional, and the brain gets a richer sensory signal without sugar. That is the first metabolic advantage, not because clove melts fat, but because it can help you stop feeding the morning craving loop. Now let us talk about coffee itself. Caffeine can temporarily increase alertness and energy expenditure, but that effect is not a replacement for diet, movement, protein, or muscle. It is a short-term push, not a complete plan. After 60, the plan matters more than the push. If the morning starts with caffeine and no structure, the day can still collapse into hunger, fatigue, and sitting. But if the coffee becomes the first step in a sequence, the whole morning changes. That sequence is simple. Clove coffee first, water after, protein at breakfast, then a 10 to 15 minute walk. That is the protocol, and the clove is the doorway, not the whole house. Now here is the preparation. Brew your regular coffee, preferably without sugar. Drop 1 whole clove into the hot cup. Let it steep for 3 to 5 minutes if you are new to it. Remove the clove before drinking if the flavor becomes too strong. If you only have ground clove, use a tiny pinch, and I mean tiny. Too much clove can make the coffee bitter, medicinal, and irritating to the stomach. This is one of the details that separates a ritual from a punishment. The second detail is timing. Use it in the morning, not late in the day. Caffeine can cause trouble sleeping, jitters, heartburn, anxiety, palpitations, or digestive discomfort in sensitive people. That matters even more for seniors because sleep quality already becomes easier to disturb. So this is a morning tool. not an afternoon rescue, not a night experiment. The third detail is tolerance. If you have reflux, gastritis, strong caffeine sensitivity, palpitations, or anxiety, start very carefully or skip it. If you take blood thinners, diabetes medication, have liver disease, have surgery scheduled, or use many medications, ask a professional before making clove a daily habit. Clove as a spice in small amounts is not the same thing as clove oil or concentrated supplements. But even small habits deserve caution when medications are involved. Here is the hidden reason this matters for older adults. A morning that begins with sweetness often asks for more sweetness. A morning that begins with spice, bitterness, hydration, protein, and movement asks for something completely different. It asks the body to participate. That is why the clove is not important, because it is dramatic. It is important because it changes the first decision of the day. And the first decision often controls the next 5. Now, the reason this ritual feels powerful after 60 is psychological and metabolic at the same time. It gives the morning a signal, a bitter, warm, unsweetened signal. It tells the brain that the day begins with control, not with a sugar chase. And when that signal is followed by protein and walking, the coffee stops being just a drink. It becomes a trigger for a better morning. And once that morning pattern repeats, the body starts receiving consistency instead of confusion. That consistency is where seniors often feel the biggest difference because energy, digestion, cravings, and movement all improve more easily when the first hour is not chaotic. That is the part the title is really pointing to. Not magic, momentum. In the next part, I will show you what happens when you run this for 7 days, the mistakes that erase the benefit, and the exact breakfast combination that makes clove coffee work much better. Now let us build the 7-day test, because a trick without a test becomes just another thing you forget by Thursday. Most people fail because they do not create a clean experiment. They add clove one morning, skip it the next, drink sweet coffee on day 3, and then blame the spice. That is not a test. That is noise. A real test starts with the same cup, the same timing, and the same rule for 7 mornings. Day 1 is only about taste and tolerance. Use 1 whole clove, steep it for 3 minutes, remove it, and drink slowly without sugar. If the flavor feels warm, spicy, and slightly sweet in aroma, you did it correctly. If it tastes like medicine, you used too much or left it too long. Day 2 is about the craving check. Notice whether you still want sugar in the cup. This is the first quiet win, because reducing sugar in coffee is not dramatic, but it changes the morning pattern. Day 3 is about digestion awareness. Some people feel the stomach and gut wake up faster with coffee, and coffee itself can stimulate parts of digestion and colon movement. The clove adds aroma and warmth, but the coffee remains the main engine of that morning digestive signal. That is important because we do not need to lie to make the ritual useful. Day 4 is where you add the missing piece, protein, because clove coffee without a smart breakfast is only half the system. After the coffee, drink water. Then eat breakfast with protein, not just bread, cookies, or cereal. Eggs, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, fish, beans, or another protein source that fits your routine can change the way hunger behaves for hours. This matters because metabolism after 60 is tied strongly to muscle, and muscle needs protein plus use. If breakfast is only starch and caffeine, the morning can still crash. If breakfast includes protein and the coffee is no longer sweetened like dessert, the whole day starts from a stronger place. Day 5 is where you add movement. Not a punishing workout. Not a gym transformation. A 10 to 15 minute walk after breakfast. That walk matters because it connects the caffeine alertness with actual movement, and movement is one of the strongest signals for an aging metabolism. This is the moment the ritual becomes bigger than coffee. Coffee wakes attention. Clove changes flavor. Protein supports muscle. Walking tells the body to use energy. That is a sequence. And sequences beat hacks. Day 6 is where you check the afternoon. Did the 3 o'clock crash feel the same? Did cravings arrive as hard? Did breakfast hold you longer? Did your stomach feel more comfortable, or did the spice bother you? Those answers matter more than hype. Day 7 is where you decide whether this belongs in your life. If you felt better energy, fewer sweet cravings, better morning control, or a more satisfying coffee, keep it. If your stomach burned, your heart raced, or your sleep got worse, stop forcing it. A ritual that irritates your body is not a health habit. It is stubbornness. Now let us talk about the 5 mistakes that erase the benefit. Mistake 1 is adding sugar and calling it the same protocol. It is not the same. The whole point is to make the cup interesting enough that sweetness becomes less necessary. Mistake 2 is using too much clove. More spice does not mean more metabolism. More spice usually means more bitterness and a higher chance of reflux or stomach irritation. Mistake 3 is using clove oil. Do not do that. This script is about 1 whole clove, or a tiny pinch of ground clove. Concentrated clove oil is a different thing and should not be treated like a kitchen spice. Mistake 4 is drinking it too late. After 60, many people already fight lighter sleep, and caffeine in the afternoon can make the night worse. Bad sleep hurts cravings, energy, and metabolic control the next day. So late coffee can steal tomorrow from you. Mistake 5 is expecting the clove to do the work while the rest of the morning stays broken. If coffee is followed by no protein, no water, no movement, and a chair for 5 hours, the ritual is being asked to do too much. Now let us talk about why the pharmaceutical industry angle pulls attention. People are tired of being told every problem after 60 needs a pill first and a habit later. But the opposite extreme is also wrong. You should not throw away medication because a spice tastes interesting in coffee. The smarter position is this: use simple habits early enough that your body has fewer fires to put out later. That is where this ritual belongs. It belongs before the day gets chaotic. It belongs before the sugar craving takes over. It belongs before the body spends another morning sitting still. Now here is who should be careful. If you are allergic to clove, skip it. If you have strong reflux, gastritis, ulcers, or stomach burning, be careful because coffee and spice can both feel harsh. If you take anticoagulants, diabetes medication, blood pressure medication, or many medications, talk to a clinician before turning clove into a daily habit. If you are pregnant, have liver disease, or have surgery scheduled, do not treat daily clove use casually. And if caffeine causes palpitations, anxiety, pressure changes, or insomnia, the coffee side may be the bigger issue. You can also test the same idea in a gentler way. Use decaf coffee if caffeine is the problem. Use less clove if spice is the problem. Use the ritual only a few mornings per week if daily use feels too strong. The point is not to suffer through a trend. The point is to build a morning that your body can actually handle. Now let us bring the whole system together. 1 cup of morning coffee, 1 whole clove, 3 to 5 minutes of infusion, no sugar if you can manage it, water afterward, protein at breakfast, a short walk. Repeat for 7 days. That is the real clove coffee trick. Not because the clove alone wakes up metabolism like a switch, because it helps turn the first hour of the day into a metabolic signal instead of a metabolic accident. And after 60, that first hour matters more than people think. The body is more sensitive to poor sleep, lower muscle, less movement, and unstable appetite. So a better morning is not small. It is leverage. The secret is not believing a spice will change everything by itself. The secret is using that spice to stop doing the things that quietly keep you stuck. Less sugar, more awareness, better timing, more protein, more movement. That is how a 2-minute coffee ritual becomes a smarter morning. Now imagine repeating that for 30 mornings, not perfectly, not obsessively, but consistently enough that your coffee no longer begins the day with sugar and your body no longer begins the day with sitting still. That is where small rituals become identity. You stop asking, what can I take? You start asking, what signal am I sending first? And if you do it for a week, you will know whether it helps you. If it does, keep it. If it does not, adjust honestly. But do not miss the deeper lesson. Your metabolism after 60 is not asleep because you are doomed. It often feels asleep because the daily signals got weaker, sweeter, more sedentary, and more chaotic. This little clove in coffee is not the whole answer. It is the reminder. The body still listens. You just have to speak to it in the morning before the day starts speaking louder. And I want to tell you one more thing. First of all, congratulations for staying until here. If you watched until the end, it's because this topic really matters to you. I guarantee you, very few people stay until the end. And that's exactly why I can't help but recommend the Secret Aesthetics Protocol to you one more time. It's the perfect method for you if you want to reverse visible signs, stop trying everything, and start following a step-by-step plan that works with the right and cheap ingredients, in the correct order and with safe combinations to improve your skin, hair, and nails from the inside out. When you join, you get lifetime access and you also receive 3 exclusive bonuses. Click the first link in the description or the pinned comment and start your protocol now. Thank you very much and see you in the next video.